Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Waterbury Board of Education regular meeting. We'll begin tonight with a silent prayer. Commissioner Van Stone, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Yeah. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Harvey?
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Here.
Commissioner Pagano?
Here.
Vice President Rodriguez?
Here.
Commissioner Stengel?
Here.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Here.
Commissioner Thurgood? Here. Commissioner Jason Van Stone?
Present.
Commissioner Tom Van Stone?
Present.
President Brown?
Present. All right, thank you. Communications. Communications of September 1st, 2016. Communication dated July 28th, 2016 from Jonathan Perkins regarding notice of intention to make claim from Victoria Dawkins. Copy of communication dated August 1st, 2016 from Civil Service certifying Latasha McKenna for the position of paraprofessional. Copy of communication dated August 2nd, 2016 from Civil Service certifying Giocondina O'Brien for the position of School Secretary and Alicia Mendoza for the position of Administrative Associate 1. Copy of communication dated August 2nd, 2016 from Civil Service certifying Kristen Ciceres and Shaquila Gaskins for the position of paraprofessional. Copy of communication dated August 4th from Civil Service certifying Colleen Hennebree for the position of paraprofessional, Kelly Pino for the position of Supervising Vice Principal, Wilson Elementary School, Maureen Wilson for the position of Supervising Vice Principal, Bunker Hill Elementary School, Shernette Evans Foster for the position of Supervising Vice Principal, Chase Elementary School, and Nima Dolphy for the position of Administrative Associate 1. Email received August 5th, 2016 from CABE regarding policy highlights. Copy of communications dated August 9th from Civil Service certifying Suzanne Collins and Lois Wilkes-Luby for the position of paraprofessional. Copy of communication dated August 10, 2016 from Civil Service certifying Julie Austin for the position of paraprofessional. Copy of communications dated August 12 from Civil Service certifying Nathalie Rivas Luna for the position of food service worker and Sherry Jameson for the position of lunch aide. Copy of communication dated August 15 from Civil Service certifying Nino Said for the position of paraprofessional and Jennifer Orso for the position of human resource assistant. Copy of Copy of communication dated August 17 from Civil Service certifying Stephanie Sullivan for the position of lunch aide and Lucas Spellman for the position of food service driver. Copy of email from CABE dated August 19th regarding policy highlights. Copy of communication dated August 19th from Civil Service certifying Maria DaCosta for the position of food service worker. Copy of communications dated August 25th from Civil Service certifying Carolyn Rivera for the position of food service worker and David Pike for the position of maintainer 1. May I have a motion?
Motion to place on file.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Motion carries. Okay. May I have a motion?
Motion to suspend the regular business here from the public.
Second. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Public address. First speaker is Daniel Albert.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
When I last spoke in May about the talented and gifted programming, I was very grateful that both Commissioners Van Stone responded to my concerns. It was even recommended that the tag subject be put on the agenda of a curriculum meeting. However, when I followed up a week or so later, I was told that there was no follow-up. So I kept on it, like I often do. I proceeded to send an email to Wendy Owen, Steve Strand, Mr. Schwartz, and Elizabeth Brown. I then was invited to meet with Mr. Schwartz. He shared the district had been working over the last several months on redesigning the TAG program to be aligned with the UConn Gifted and Talented model. Due to the year-long mishandling of my daughter Abigail's situation, I was accompanied to the meeting by Margaret O'Brien, education advocate, because I truly felt that I needed additional help with this. At the meeting, I wanted answers. Why were the parents unaware of the programming available? Why did I have to literally contact everyone downtown to get some action? And what happened to the TAG programs of the 2015-16 school year? It was explained that TAG was a priority, how it was being restructured, and the plan to send district staff to be educated on the UConn model. As fabulous as that might be, I couldn't understand how a task of that magnitude was taking place and not one of the 13 people I contacted prior to Mr. Schwartz knew anything. Do you remember the phrase, "I don't know"? Why weren't the parents of gifted and talented children notified that there could be a halt in programming? I was reassured that there would be a program in place for September. I further discussed my own daughter's skill level and my confidence in her, and with one phone call, Mr. Schwartz was kind enough to begin the process of setting Abigail up to be assessed. I was grateful and yet absolutely furious. Why could not one person prior to him have started this? Why the year-long runaround? We closed the meeting with the plan to follow up after Mr. Schwartz's meeting with Dr. Eastlake at UConn. I reached out a few weeks later for an update and because I wanted to share the results of Abigail's assessment. After completing the Wechsler IQ and individual achievement exams, my daughter exceeded all my expectations in scoring 93% academically gifted and superior. Mr. Schwartz explained the excitement the district had to take on the redesigning of the TAG program and the different ways to identify and service students. He also explained that there was developing a team to attend a confertute and the creation of a district committee. I expressed a desire to be part of this committee because I felt as a parent going through this process I could truly bring a useful perspective. Excitement, redesign are wonderful things, however, there was still no plan for programming. This morning I received an email. As much as I appreciate the possibility of being included in this committee and being connected with additional support services for Abigail, this is not about me and it never has been about me or just about her. It's about every parent that has confidence in their child's skill but has no idea where to go, and all the children like Abigail. I still have lack of confidence that there will be a solid program in place for all of our gifted and talented students. How is it being redesigned? What services will be provided and to whom? And what type of program requirements and forms of testing are available? And how is continuity being provided for those in the existing programs? Also, what funding? Where is it coming from? Are we relying on UConn or are we applying for the Jarvis grant? During Abby's follow-up PPT, my husband and I wanted to know the plan for her school year. Roberta A. Bell explained we needed to follow up with her fourth grade teacher, the principal, and Bob Delaney. Ironic, isn't it? The exact same cycle I started with last year. I don't know when enough is going to be enough. After all of this, I shouldn't have to consider going out of district for some type of action. I can't stand here and watch another parent go through the same circus I've encountered. My Abigail deserves every single education dollar, resource, and piece of TAG programming entitled to her. And if you refuse to provide it, you have to give her and others like her equivalent alternatives. She told me she wants to be a marine biologist at the age of 7. It is your job and mine to get her there, and I am doing my job. I feel like nobody is listening. If my expectations aren't being met, then maybe this board made a huge mistake in providing the label exceeding expectations. What's been allowed to go on with this program, school safety, the loss of minority teachers, the horrendous test scores, and the chronic absenteeism is complete failure. And as a mom, I'm telling you, I can't allow these failures to fall on my daughters or any of our children anymore. Thank you.
Jimmy Griffin.
Good evening, members of the board, President of the board. Really didn't want to come down here, but after hearing some of the numbers that I've heard coming out with the hiring this year, I thought it's necessary that maybe I give you a little history on just how bad Waterbury has been with the plight of black teachers in Waterbury public school system in 1975, 1976, up to 1997, 1998. The original study was done in 1976 for the Concerned Citizens for Laid Off Black Teachers of Waterbury, Connecticut. It presented to Michael Wallace prior to the Board of Education during that year. In 1975-76, the summary, during 1975-76 school year, the Waterbury Board of Education employed 1,314 teachers and administrators. Within this number employed, 66 were black. This represented approximately 5% of the professional workforce employed by Waterbury Public School System. The professional positions were 2 directors, 2 principals, 2 vice principals, 2 guidance counselors, 11 secondary teachers, 32 elementary teachers, 15 specialized librarian and other professionals, for a total of 66. The federal government mandated under Title VII, Waterbury must organize and implement an affirmative action program. That directive also stated, along with other crucial topics, the upward mobility and employment progression of minorities must be given serious consideration. At that time, this report, the City of Waterbury did not have an affirmative action plan ready for implementation. It was revealed that the Office of Civil Service Commission that overall concept had been drafted and a resolution was being prepared by the Board of Aldermen and the Mayor's approval, and the administrative structure for accountability had been set up with direct lines leading to 22 city departments. In 1999, an updated study on the employment practices for African American teachers in Waterbury Public Schools was commissioned by the Waterbury branch of the NAACP. At the time, I was the president. In 1997-1998, the school year, the Waterbury Board of Education employed 1,227 teachers, administrators, and other professional staff. 50 of those professional staff were black. This represents approximately 4% of the entire Waterbury Public School professional staff. The positions are 1 principal, 1 assistant principal, 27 elementary school classroom teachers, 10 secondary classroom teachers, 4 other classroom teachers, 2 guidance counselors, 1 psychologist, other professions 2, and newly hired classroom teachers, for a total of 50. This demographic update compares the advancement of African American employment for the City of Waterbury that spans 22 years. The city has proudly advanced its long-standing affirmative action program as being in compliance with the spirit of the law and fully operational in all the city's departments. However, the net result of this department is absolutely contrary to the equal opportunity advocacy. The employment practices concerning Waterbury's black teachers and administrators demonstrate a negative -1% hiring effect. The conclusion was, utilizing the data from Waterbury Public School System in both reports, concludes that the system implementation of the city's affirmative action program in 1975 and 1976 report, African American educators have received less employment opportunities based on ratios in local and regional or national populations. In retrospect, the oversight apparatus guaranteed Waterbury's black professionals fair hiring practices was deeply flawed. That was before the 2000 report. This is what was introduced to CHRO in 2000, all right, that prompted the report from 2000 that made the recommendations that we're talking about today, that's now under investigation by CHRO. This is like outrageous. I've never seen anything like this. There's no excuse that in 2016 that we're going backwards in the school system when it comes to minority teachers in a system that's got 75 to 80% of the students that are black and Latino. It's outrageous. You gotta do something about this. You just can't, you gotta find a way. I know that you just got some young people that went down to the schools and they came back, and to know the history that we're dealing with here, this is outrageous. And no urban area in the state of Connecticut does this kind of outrageous stuff go on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nashai Northover. You're not talking? Okay, they're part of the group, okay, all right. Athena Wagner?
Good evening. Athena Wagner, Highland Avenue. First, I would like to speak to the issue of the minority hiring and retention. It's been too long. It's been going on too long. The city is notorious for not hiring. Here's the first thing. You have to ask yourself, do you really want them? Do you want them here? Because it's not impossible to get them here, but you gotta want them here. And in order to keep them here, you're gonna have to support them. There's been a lack of support. There's an investigation with CHRO. There have been data presented to show that there's a problem in that area. When does that change? What else do you need? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to do this. You, the board, and the superintendent, make it your business to sit down in an informal environment meeting with your minority educators, and you all, instead of telling them, ask them. Ask them, what do they need from you? What is the support that they need? There's been surveys done. They told you. They feel slighted. They feel alienated. So now you, as a board, take the responsibility to do what you were elected to do and ask your educators, what do you need from us? How can we make it better for you here? They're here because they want to be here, but they can't stay here feeling pushed out, feeling alienated, feeling slighted. I wouldn't. The other thing is, you've been working on an affirmative action plan. Is it done? Because you've been working on it for 16 years. So is it done? What is it? Can we get it? Can we see it? Can we know about it? Should be public knowledge. That's what I want to know. Third thing, School Governance Council. Listen, I'm getting sick and tired of getting the calls for people who don't know what the roles and responsibilities of the school governance councils are. I have history with the school governance councils. I know what they're about. I know what the law says. That's why I get the calls. They don't call you all. They call me for the answers. And then I have to send them down here to address you all. For 5 years, it was implemented in 2011. For 5 years, you have been downplaying the role of the School Governance Council. And if you want these schools improved, then be truthful with these parents and these community members who chose to volunteer their time, which is precious, their time to improve their school. They want their school improved. That's why they serve on these councils. And you're not telling them all the power that they have because you all aren't used to sharing power. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Joyce Pettaway, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Joyce
evening.
Pettaway speaking this evening on behalf of Grace Baptist Church, where our pastor is the pastor Christopher S. Reese. First, I would like to compliment Mrs. Johanna Hayes and Dr. Shauna Tucker for the work that they have been doing on the We Are Waterbury project. And this has been putting a focus on providing training for minority educators, fostering interest in teaching careers among local students, and partnering with colleges and universities to grow a pool of minority applicants, but then they can only recruit. And as far as I understand, it's based on the plan that you have here, it's the principals, not the central office, that hires teachers. And it seems this is a barrier to increase minority teachers. Perhaps the superintendent can play a bigger role as it relates to the principal being committed to hiring more minority teachers. If a divisive teacher's force is racially and ethnically reflective of the students served, students of color and English language learners will see themselves in the professional realm and more inspired to pursue higher education. Are we taking one step forward and then two steps back? You know, I have a reason to believe unofficially that between 126 and 130 new hires for this year in this district has taken place. And in a population of about 19,000 students, of which probably 78% are minority and students of color, of these hires, I believe it's like 5 to 6 blacks, and I believe it's like 6 to 8 hires from the Hispanic community. And to top it off, Dr. Tucker is leaving. I mean, really. She will no longer be here to help recruit as the professional development director. And I understand, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the superintendent has any replacement for her. Now, what does that tell you? Look, it's simple. We feel, especially from Grace Baptist Church, and all of my friends here in the community too, I'm sure, it is important for students of color to see successful professionals and educators that look like them and who, like Johanna Hayes, as our great teacher of the year, had personal experiences like theirs. Teachers of color will promote self-esteem among students of color. There are more teachers out there like Johanna Hayes. We just have to be honest with ourselves and look for them. So without Dr. Tucker, I hope Dr. Willett will think about having a closer relationship with the principals to ensure that they hire. Johanna Hayes and Dr. Tucker has done an excellent job on their plan. We are Waterbury, but we need to take that a step further, and the teachers can only be hired through the principals. Don't put it all on the recruitment. The actual hiring is from the principals. They get their orders from the superintendent. Okay, there's always a power. It always starts at the top. So I just wanted to say to the City of Waterbury School District, it's a thankless job. I did my time there. But if you're really committed, it's really not like a job. And we all care about the education of our children. Education is a civil right. And we will continue to come down to the Board of Education because that's what it takes in this country, is to agitate, especially when it comes to the rights of the people of color. I thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Rochelle Northover, are you part of the broader presentation? Okay, all right. Is there anybody else from the public who would like to speak? Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to return to the regular
Oh,
order.
I'm sorry. Come on. Representative Butler.
Good evening. Forgive me for not signing up. I just came to observe the student ambassadors that went to Hampton, actually, and to be a part of the send-off to Dr. Tucker. My name is Larry Butler. I reside at 70 Blackman Road, and Now that I am speaking, I'd like to address some of what's been said earlier. Certainly, I attend Grace Baptist Church, so I share the sentiments that Joyce Pettaway brought from my pastor, Reverend Christopher Reese. And I just don't want to put this all in your lap, although I really encourage you to do more in terms of delivering on minority recruitment for teachers. But I'm here to tell you that I'm here to help you too. I know there are state laws that actually prevent you from doing some of the work in this area that could help you be successful. So I'm here to, volunteer to partner with you to do whatever we can from a state level in terms of policy. I know the reciprocity is a big burden. There's other policies that the state places in front of you, and I would like to work with you on removing those barriers as well. So, I'm here to help, so I look forward to working with you going forward. Again, I would just like to congratulate our student ambassadors that went down to Hampton. Anytime we have young ambassadors like that, we'll go and represent. That's a great thing, and we should always recognize their good deeds. But in closing, I'd just like to say that we're very fortunate to have Dr. Tucker here for the time that she was here. Boy, I know at one point in time she was probably doing the work of 3 people. And to see her go is just so sad. I encourage you to actually follow up on the good work that she's already done and look at the blueprint that she has out there. I think if we have somebody that's really committed to doing the work, if they pick up where she left off, that we might get some great results. But I'd like to personally thank you. My family thanks you, and I'm sure the city of Waterbury owes you a great thanks for your work. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, could I have a motion to return?
Motion to return to the regular order of business.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, Superintendent Olet.
Thank you, Madam President. You have my formal announcements before you. I'd like to, at this point, and I will summarize those under miscellaneous business at the end of the meeting. At this time, I'd like to turn my portion of the superintendent's announcements over to Dr. Tucker for the presentation of Young Diplomats, the Power of a Summer Experience. Dr. Tucker.
Thank you and good evening. Dr. Willett and Commissioners of Ed, I am very happy to be here with you this evening for our students, our wonderful young men and young ladies, to share with you their summer experience at Hampton University this summer. As you know, through the MTRR grant, co-written by my colleague Johanna Hayes and myself, we started off focusing on 3 specific things. Number 1, it was students. Really getting our students interested and engaged and exposed to the teaching profession. Because from surveys and data, they needed that. They didn't fully quite understand what was all involved with becoming a teacher and teacher prep programs. Second, our focus was the existing staff that we had here in Waterbury, and third, partnerships. So I'm very excited that our students are going to share with you their experience. They had an opportunity to attend Hampton University this summer for 1 week. For those that may not know, Hampton University is an HBCU. It's ranked in the top 10 of HBCUs within the United States. As a proud member and graduate of an HBCU, my son attended this program 2 summers ago and had a wonderful experience. And I knew that if it was great for him, it would be great for our students. And I was really happy that I was able to partner with Hampton and work with them, and also with our chaperone and my colleague, Cassandra Van Pierce. We had 2 parent orientations And I want to acknowledge the parents that are here that came out to support their students. Would you please stand? After meeting them, hosting 2 parent orientations, they trusted us enough and believed in us and the commitment to the program to say, I will allow my child to go and experience this. So I don't want to take any more of your time, but I would like to say that this program was paid for through our grant. The cost averages about $1,000 per student. We sent 7 students and 1 chaperone, and Ms. Van Pierce actually stayed in Hampton for the entire week with family and friends, so that if our students had any issues or whatever, there was a point person there that they could contact if something were to happen. The university wrote to me when they returned saying that they had a wonderful experience, they were happy to have them, and they would hope that Waterbury would send more students next summer and the following summer. So I ask that even though our grant is over, I do hope that the district and the city would find funders and sponsors to support students annually to attend a program like this and have that type of summer experience. So I will now turn it over to my wonderful diplomats. They're going to introduce themselves, share with you their schools, and begin their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tucker.
Hi, my name is Naisha Northover. I attend Crosby High School, and I'm a junior. When I was called down to the office one day and was told about the Young Diplomats program, my first reaction was, I'm not going.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rose Reyes. I'm a senior at Crosby High School. And when I was told I was needed in the principal's office, I thought it was going to be about something regarding student council. After hearing about the program, I was unsure at first, but then excited, so I accepted the invitation openly.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ewan Martin. I go to the Waterbury Career Academy. I'm currently a junior, and I heard my name called to come to the main office, and everyone in class said, "Oh." I didn't pay them any attention and went. At the office, I was given a pamphlet, and the secretaries were smiling and congratulating me. Later on, when I looked at the pamphlet, I saw what a good program this was, and my family and I were very excited.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Emerson Gonzalez. I attend Waterbury Career Academy, and I'm a senior. I heard a phone from my classroom, and I was getting nervous. I have no clue why. I went to the office thinking I had done something wrong. Then they told me about this program, and my first thought was, wow, I can't believe I'm getting this opportunity, but I don't know if I can do it because of my job.
Good day, everyone. My name is Kasim Brown. I go to John F. Kennedy High School. I'm currently a senior. And when I walked in Miss Van Pierce's class, she told me that I was chosen for the Young Diplomats program. My reaction was, I was seriously picked. Who would have thought I could be picked for something big like this? We also have 2 more students who also participated in the Young Diplomats program, and their names are Andrew Reed and Juarez Acevedo. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it tonight.
Hampton University's Young Diplomats Summer Program is for high school students from around the country on the campus of Hampton University in Hampton, Virginia.
This learning experience challenges students to think about a world much bigger than their own.
We explored the people, culture, and issues represented at one of our country's biggest competitors, China. We studied the Chinese language, culture, leadership development, Chinese diplomacy, economic development, and strategic communications.
We learned through global communication how the United States and China respond to humanitarian issues, thus how societies help people. To heighten this experience, we went on a trip to Washington, D.C. to visit sites such as the Confucius Institute, the Logai Museum, and the State Department.
The program lined up a group of re-owned political and community leaders to inspire the diplomats on ways to make a difference in their communities. We, the diplomats, learned the Roberts Rules of Order and the art of debate. We enjoyed dining and social etiquette to effect change in both formal and informal settings. To enhance this experience, we received instruction in the waltz and salsa.
We had an opportunity for relaxation and unwinding through recreational activities such as tennis, horseback riding, sailing or bowling, swimming, fitness, watching a movie, samba, and taekwondo.
We had an opportunity to display what we learned: dancing, drama, poetry, and debate at the closing luncheon, where parents and our advisors witnessed our achievements.
The dress code is based on the theory that learning to use socially acceptable manners and selecting attire appropriately are critical factors in the total educational system.
Understanding and employing these behaviors contributes to optimum morale as well as embellishes the overall campus image. They also play a major role in instilling a sense of integrity and an appreciation for values and ethics.
Do-rags, stocking caps, baseball caps, hoodies, shorts, and pants that reveal buttocks are prohibited at all times on the campus except in the privacy of the students' living quarters. Clothing with derogatory, offensive, and/or lewd messages, either in words or pictures, were also prohibited.
By dressing up properly, it really made all of us understand how your choice of clothing can make a positive statement and a good first impression, whether on an interview or out eating at a restaurant.
From the moment that we all stepped foot into the airport, we were all scared but very eager to take part in the Young Diplomats program. At the time, we didn't know each other that well, but the one thing that we all had in common was to stick together as a unit, and from then on, we developed a strong and healthy relationship.
The first day of arriving at Hampton University, we arrived at our dormitory. We completed all paperwork, received the keys to our room. It was clear that we shared a mutual feeling of anxiety when we all separated.
After getting settled into our dorms, we had to attend an orientation concerning the program. This is where we got our photo IDs and officially became a member of the Young Diplomats program. At this time, we met our roommates, the person we will be sharing a room with. This was a scary experience.
Each day, we had a motivational speaker to come in to talk to us about various topics. They all had one thing in common, which was speaking wisdom into our lives. Marcia Grace spoke about the importance of education. She talked about her personal experiences with dropping out of school consistently. Eventually, she stayed on task and achieved her lifetime goal to becoming a social worker. The mayor of Hampton, Virginia, George Wallace, joined the conversation of talking about his success in becoming the mayor. He encouraged all of us to persevere in our dreams, no matter the obstacles or barriers that come our way.
A speaker from the State Department in Washington, D.C. inspired the diplomats about the importance of traveling outside of your environment. The young diplomats from Waterbury felt inferior because we weren't exposed to many traveling opportunities like other young diplomats.
Mrs. Zhang, the Mandarin teacher, taught us about the Mandarin dialect and the Chinese culture. Her class was really interesting, but due to our busy schedule, we were very exhausted.
Attorney Anton Bell gave an empowering speech on being a leader and not a follower. He used his own life experiences to convey a very important life lesson. He also spoke specifically to the female diplomats on how they should be treated by the male gender. From this speech, I walked away knowing that I am a queen that deserves respect at all times.
My overall experience of the... Sorry.
It's okay. Another interesting class we had was the art of debate. It was funny to watch our fellow young diplomats debate at the front of the room. A lot of them were very intelligent and clearly had a passion for debating. On the last day at the luncheon, to our surprise, we were told that since we participated in this program, that we will be given a priority spot if we choose to apply to Hampton.
Nice.
My overall experience of the Young Diplomats program was great. The friends that I met at the beginning of the program, I will always hold dear to my heart. And the friends that I met at Hampton University, I will never forget. This experience exposed me to a new perspective of myself and the community in which I live, and surrounded us with like-minded students. I will always be grateful for this exciting and humbling experience. I thank all of those who helped to allow this to happen.
This opportunity that was given to me was very overwhelming. I learned many things while on the trip. A discovery I made was learning about me. I am such a shy, quiet person, the person who sits in the back of the class and not asks questions. Now imagine that quiet kid getting an opportunity to travel all by herself. It was very nerve-wracking, and I didn't know how I would last all by myself. This trip is actually what a quiet person like myself needed. I found strength in myself to step out of my comfort zone. Finding my strength opened doors for me. I met some of the most funniest, caring, and smart people who eventually became my friends. I want to thank you guys for helping me find my confidence, helping me grow as a person, and creating amazing memories that I will never forget.
First off, I would like to thank everyone for giving me this opportunity. I really love getting to experience learning the Chinese language. However, my overall favorite part was learning how to ballroom dance. The teacher was very patient with us, and by her showing in that trait, we developed a really good bond. So once again, I want to thank you so much for giving me this experience to learn different things, meet new people, and get more understanding about the college life.
We would like to thank our teachers and principals at the Waterbury Career Academy, Kennedy and Crosby High School, Mrs. Tucker, Mrs. Hayes, and our parents for being there for us.
A special thanks to Ms. Van Pierce for being our chaperone to Hampton University.
Thanks to all that were involved in the Minority Teacher Recruitment and Retention Grant. Without this grant, we would not have been afforded this eye-opening experience that exposed us to life outside of Waterbury.
It affords the ability to go outside of our environment to see that people who look like us can be very successful. Prior to our summer experience at Hampton University or experiencing our respective schools, here in Waterbury display success as not looking like us.
We volunteered recently at Waterbury's new teacher orientation. We were astonished by the lack of minority teachers hired this year. As we walked around the room, handing out papers and other tasks, we noticed the lack of minority teachers in the room.
In the room, there were 132 teachers. Out of the 132 teachers, 4.2% were African American, 2.3 were Hispanic, 1.5 were other, 1.5 were minority men, and 9.2 were Caucasian.
As teenagers, this was an eye-opener to us. We as minority teenagers here in Waterbury hope to see racial equality in hiring. Perhaps one day it will be possible for the 7 of us to be hired in the Waterbury education system.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
It was such a blessing to get a chance to participate in a program such as this one. I am extremely grateful to be given this opportunity. And so I encourage the superintendent and any others involved to continue encouraging minority students through programs such as the Young Diplomats. Programs like this may improve the lack of minority teachers we have today. A big thanks to all involved from the 2016 Waterbury Young Diplomats.
We would like to thank the Board of Education for allowing us to speak at this prestigious meeting.
Hello, my name is Rochelle Northover, and my daughter's name is Nisha Northover. First, I would like to thank Dr. Tucker, Johanna Hayes, Cassandra Van Peers, and others who brought this wonderful opportunity for Waterbury students to explore and experience the Young Diplomat program at Hampton University. Thank you. My daughter Nisha expressed to me how much she enjoyed and learned from the Young Diplomat program. She was exposed to ballroom dancing, she learned about etiquette, and she was introduced to the Chinese language and culture. And along with those amazing experiences, Nisha enjoyed a lecture that was given by attorney Anton Bell. She told me how empowering his lecture was to her. She said she walked away knowing that she was a queen. How awesome to hear your child say that. Nisha and the students learned so much from the Young Diplomat program. I would like to thank the Minority Teacher Recruiting and Retention Grant, which made this possible for the Young Diplomats. My hope for the Waterbury school system is to continue this groundbreaking path that has been started by Nisha and the Young Diplomats for future minority students to travel this path as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam President. Wow, that was, honestly, that is why I'm on this board. And Dr. Tucker, you just left an imprint that we will have to ensure that it continues. It is opportunities like this that we need many of our kids in our district to be exposed to see different ballroom dancing, a different state like Virginia, a great institution like Hampton. I can't wait till you guys come back as graduates of Hampton or for whatever higher institution you go to and mentor the kids that come behind you. That was deeply moving. Who's in charge of the PowerPoint? I do have a question about the PowerPoint piece, though. Who's got that? Can you go back to the picture of the dorms where you guys were?
You look nice on the water.
Please.
Very nice.
And let me just say, all of you guys are very articulate, spoke very well, extremely, extremely proud of you guys. But I did have a question on one particular, you went past it.
That was it. One with the water.
There you go. There you go.
Wow,
So
that's
I hear that you were told you were a queen, and that's wonderful. But I know Dr. Tucker hooked this up because the boys had, where's the little logo? The boys had the view of the courtyard, and the girls' building had the view of the beautiful water. So you guys were certainly treated as queens. Listen, I'm so proud of you guys. I hope you guys continue to, keep reaching for the stars and keep pursuing new things that you probably never thought you can do or felt comfortable doing. But that is education, and that is learning. And you've, shined a great example of that today. So thank you so much, each and every one of you. Thank you. And for the parents supporting these guys, you guys have phenomenal students, phenomenal kids, and thank you for doing your part. Dr. Tucker, you will be sorely missed because I know what you created here. Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you. You know, students, first of all, we can't applaud you enough for your presentation. You were, as previously mentioned, articulate. Takes a lot of nerve to get up and stand up and give a presentation. It really does, as you know. But this is just really the start of your journey. First of all, to stand up and to say to a board, to address a board, the Board of Education, I want you to always remember this, how important it is to hear from you that when we were at Hampton and we saw, the professors, et cetera, and we came back here and we observed what was in the district, there was a difference. okay, that speaks volumes because it's coming from you. All right, so I want to applaud you. Give them a hand for just having the nerve to do that. You know, I'm going back years, but I can remember addressing the board on, you know, whether or not Crosby would be named Crosby, okay? And I've never forgotten that, and that's monumental. This is monumental. What you have done today, your presentation is monumental. And commissioners, if we don't listen to our students, then we're not going to listen to anyone, okay? So we need to, first of all, ensure that this program is continued, all right, for as long as it can be. Seek the funds. Dr. Tucker, you said seek the funds, seek the resources. We need to do that. Secondly, we need to make sure that we have documented this moment happening here at this board meeting. So if we can document this by giving our students certificates, Dr. Willett, to ensure that it's documented, this particular presentation is documented, and put it in some type of historical, I know you have to make minutes, et cetera, that it's remembered that this is what you did. Dr. Tucker, I don't know, I mean, I have some other words to say, but I just wanted to thank you for putting this together along with Shawana, and where's my Kennedy graduate teacher from Kennedy? I see you there. Thank you very much. I want to also thank the parents, because parents, as you know, the students need you, all right? And it touched my heart to hear that one of the students, that was called a queen. Yes, we need to get that message out to all of our students, because all of our students don't feel like queens and kings, and they are, as far as I'm concerned. You're all kings, you're all queens. So thank you, and we will make sure we get those certificates to you to thank you for presenting to us, and just the best of luck. I heard Crosby, Kennedy, Waterbury career. Okay, we have two others. They were from where? Both from Kennedy? Okay, great. So we'll make sure we include them in on that presentation of certificates. Thank you very much. Great job.
Commissioner Van Stone?
We took his mic away.
To quote the always quotable Vice President Rodriguez, wow. That's one of your more profound quotes. All your accomplishments this summer, you actually had one greater. This empty mic stand, people have been trying to do that to me for years. So, but all serious, this is a great accomplishment. And as young adults, what you need to understand is, as you grow older, you'll not only need to recognize where change is needed, you'll need to be part of that change. Okay? And I think you did your best this summer to start that. So I wish you all the best of luck. Please keep on the track you're on. People hear from me all the time about 95%ers. We heard about a young lady earlier this evening, and you folks. And what my 95%ers are those Waterbury students that do not listen to the perception of who our students are. They are the students that we have, and 95% of you are in my special club, and you are certainly members that show the city of Waterbury that our students are some of the best. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Hernandez.
I want to say job well done. You guys expressed yourself very well today, and I know you represented Waterbury to the fullest while you were at Hampton. I also like to say thank you to your chaperone who stuck around for a week to make sure that you had a connection with home if something happened. So that was very, very admirable of you to do that. What I would like for you guys to do is to talk to your peers and tell them about your experience and try to lead them into wanting to do that same thing next year. You know, it's what you guys tell them happened while you were there that will make them want to say, okay, let me think about doing that. Let me think about becoming a teacher. Let me see if I can become a diplomat for the city of Waterbury to learn what it was that you guys learned. So it's up to you to spread the word to your peers and let them know what your experience was like. And I just want to say thank you so much for representing Waterbury and the Board of Education the way that you did while you were there. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I would just like to say congratulations and echo everybody's sentiments here. And for the record, the board and Superintendent Olet are absolutely committed to your future and the continuation of this wonderful work. For the first time, the board listened to Dr. Olet and said, yes, we need a director of talent and recruitment. This is the first time the city of Waterbury has had somebody of the caliber of Dr. Tucker. And I think my colleagues here and the superintendent especially brought this vision so that we are working hard to try to make sure that we do have a future. And I do think that the students join the Future Teachers Clubs, I believe are the YES clubs in all of your schools. Encourage. We now have electives created by Mrs. Hayes that you can get credit for taking an elective on how to become a teacher and what it means to be a teacher. These things are not going to go away. The grant that we received from the state, and we're going to take Representative Butler up on his offer to be our partner, and really look for the funds to continue the work that has been started here. So I just want to really let you know that we are committed to this work. We will continue this work. We have changed our hiring practices. Principals are no longer just solely responsible for hiring. It's a broad-based hiring process now. We have looked at a lot of these things. Can we do more? Absolutely, and we are going to do more. And we look to the community and our future teachers right here. It's a collective, it's a collaboration, and I hope that we're going to see a lot more of this great work. So thank you very much. Okay, Superintendent.
Thank you. Now the time that we all are regretting. Dr. Tucker, would you please come forward?
We need a drum roll.
Dr. Shawana Tucker may be leaving us, but she leaves a legacy behind that is filled with respect and gratitude for her central office transformational work within the Human Resource Department. And Dr. Tucker knows she was one of the first ones that was on my team for central office transformation through the talent office, focusing on minority recruitment. Her impact on Waterbury Public Schools is one that makes us all grateful that she was part of our team. It is with great sadness that we accept Dr. Tucker's resignation. Her contributions are so many. Dr. Tucker has been a tremendous resource and an integral member of my Waterbury Public Schools Central Office executive leadership team. She has demonstrated a strong and special capacity to inspire other educators to function as a team, rolling up her sleeves to lead the team, and providing educational career guidance as needed. She has worked closely with me to support the district goals of providing highly effective instructional leaders and teachers at every district school in order to improve student performance. She has provided oversight of staff training activities and staff participation in professional development, essential to align academic curricula to national and state standards, including the Common Core and Smarter Balance assessments, as well as cultural competency teaching and minority recruitment initiatives. Thank you, Shawana, for all that you have accomplished on our behalf and on behalf of the students, families, and staff of the Waterbury Public Schools. I know that you will enjoy success throughout your career wherever you go, and we wish you the best in all that you do, and we will miss you. I just want to take a moment to say thank you. My almost 4 years here in Waterbury, they've been good years. I've learned a lot. I had awesome people that I work with, my teammates, as I call them, and no matter whatever challenge was put in front of us, we conquered and we moved forward. And everything that I attempted to do with my colleagues, we always put the children first. We always did what we thought was in the best interest of the staff. I always had the support of Dr. Willett. When I started here, I've had 3 bosses in about 3.5 years, but everyone supported, even in the time when I brought forth initiatives that people kind of looked or raised their eyebrows. They said, well, if you think you can do this, then go ahead, you have my blessing. And so I thank those, from Anne Marie Cullinan to Paul Guidone to Darren Schwartz. They've all been my supervisors. They've always supported me in what I wanted to do in programs and initiatives that I brought to the district. So I hope that during my time here that I have made a difference, that I have made an impact, and I just ask that you continue. We have some wonderful employees, outstanding teachers and administrators here in the district, outstanding employees at central office, and you saw tonight we have some wonderful, wonderful students. Let's continue to support them and move forward in all that we do. Keep the children first, and Waterbury will continue to move in a positive direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad everybody could be here for this celebration tonight. Thank you. Number 7, President's comments. I think we've said enough. Moving on to number 8, Committee on School Personnel. Commissioner Stango.
Thank you, Madam President, through you. Ladies and gentlemen, with the approval of the Committee on School Personnel, the Superintendent of Schools recommends approval of the appointment of Lori Peck as High School Vice Principal, Enlightenment School, effective immediately, respectfully submitted, and so moved.
Second.
Discussion. Superintendent.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm very pleased to recommend to the Board of Education the approval of Ms. Lori Peck for the position of Vice Principal at Enlightenment School. Ms. Peck's teaching career began in Waterbury 25 years ago at Westside Middle School as a social studies reading and language arts teacher. In 2004, she transferred to Enlightenment, where she has served for the past 12 years. In 2005, she became the acting teaching vice principal, a position which became permanent for her, and during principal transition, Ms. Peck has served as the acting principal of Enlightenment on 2 separate occasions. She is actively involved in the school community, serving on the data teams, PBIS team, and the school blueprint for student achievement leadership team. She is passionate about her students, their education, and becoming productive citizens despite the challenges they face. She shares this passion with parents and colleagues. Lori's credentials includes Bachelor of Science in Education from Trinity College in Hartford, a master's degree in administration from the University of Bridgeport. She holds an 092 administrative license, and there were over 75 applicants who applied for this position, and Ms. Peck ranked in the top 3 during the interview process. In her letters of reference, colleagues praised her work in all areas, and specifically her dedication to the students. I am pleased to present to the board this evening Ms. Lori Peck for the Vice Principal at Enlightenment School.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Harvey?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Commissioner Pagano?
Yes.
Vice President Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Stango?
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Yes.
Commissioner Theriault?
Yes.
Commissioner Jason Van Stone?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Van Stone?
Yes.
President Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. I would like to thank the members of the board and Dr. Ouellette for giving me the opportunity to serve as an administrator in the Waterbury Public School District. I would also like to thank my family and the staff at Enlightenment for their continued support. I am honored to have been selected as Vice Principal of Enlightenment School. I look forward to work in collaboration with faculty, staff, parents, and the community in preparing our students to recognize their potential, show great character, while becoming respectful, responsible, productive citizens. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Okay, moving on to number 9. Would anybody like to remove any item from the consent calendar? Commissioner Theriault.
Yes, President. I'd like to remove item 9.5, 9.6, 9.7, and 9.8. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other items commissioners wish to remove? Okay. Doing that, I'd like to read the consent calendar. 9.1, request approval of a college facility request reservation agreement with NVCC for the Transition Learning Center program. 9.2, request approval of a MOU with Wellmore, Inc. to provide emergency mobile psychiatric services. 9.3, Committee on Finance, request approval to apply for the CSDE 2016 21st Century Community Learning Center After School Grant. 9.4, request approval of a music mentoring services agreement with Waterbury Symphony Orchestra, Incorporated, to provide music mentoring services to the Waterbury Arts Magnet School. 9.9, request approval of an agreement with Abbott Terrace Health Center to provide mandated clinical training for allied health students. 9.10, request permission be granted to Joanne D'Angelo Wams and 4 chaperones to take 50 students to New York on September 21st to visit the Whitney Museum of American Art. 9.11, request approval of a license agreement with the French-speaking Baptist Church of Waterbury. 9.12, use of school facilities by school organizations and/or city departments. 9.13, use of school facilities by outside organization and/or waiver request. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve the consent calendar, items 9.1 through 9.4, and items 9.9 through 9.13 as read.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 10, items removed from the consent calendar. Committee on Building. Commissioner Sweeney.
Item 9.5, with approval of the Committee on Building, the Superintendent of Schools recommends approval to file a grant application, EDO 49, for the proposed West Side Middle School roof fireproofing removal replacement project.
Discussion. Commissioner Theriault.
When I first saw this increase on this project of the West Side Middle School from $3 million to $7 million, I had a couple of words in mind. And actually, I didn't know which one to use, so I kind of wrote down all of them. First one was ludicrous, unconscionable, ridiculous, abominable, absurd, outrageous, horrendous. I don't know how in God's name, and I hate to take away the thunder of some of the other board members who I equally feel the same way about. I followed this thing, and whether we got good advice or bad advice, we got advice that we got for free. And you never get nothing for nothing. So this advice didn't turn out too well. It turned out it's going to cost us, you can call it what you want, split hairs, $3.5, $4 million more than originally planned. I'm on the chairman of the Facility and Grounds Committee, and I find this, I don't care who was responsible. I don't care who's at fault. I just think it's a terrible way for us to administer the money and administer the taxpayers' money here to take a project from $3 million to go to $7. And I find it equally offensive that the state would pass legislation, and I'm the first one to make sure that the kids are safe at all times. As I had said previously, I went around the schools, spent 250 of my own hours videotaping every single building in this system and got tremendous results through John Cross and this Board of Education. But I just wonder why these projects go so expensive. And then we look at other programs, other schools that we're considering tearing down, adding to, And the first thing that comes to my mind is, what's it going to cost? Do we have enough money in that budget for the PCBs, for the asbestos, for the other things in those buildings? So I was getting to a point with regard to the state, using all these other adjectives that I have. I find it unconscionable that the legislators would pass a law for us to look at a possibly uncontaminated substance such as vermiculite. They passed a law that said because the vermiculite was mined in the same area as the asbestos, we have to consider it as asbestos. Why can't we just test it and determine whether or not it is contaminated and take it out? No, because it was mined in the same area, we are going to consider it asbestos. Well, I think maybe our legislators need to go back to the drawing boards and look at what this is going to cost us. Not just us. People that have private enterprises and businesses that are going to tear down a business, what's it going to cost them? But we're in the school business, and I understand the urgency of making sure that all of our buildings are free of asbestos and contamination. We had a school, Carrington. We found tons of stuff in there. So what we did was we just moved the kids around, put the smaller kids in the safer place and the bigger kids in the area that had the contamination. I don't know what that had to do with anything, but I understand the degree of safety, the need for safety of our students, but I think somebody needs to go back and re-examine this at the legislature and stop passing laws that cost us not hundreds and thousands of dollars, but millions of dollars. They're going to do that. It's going to add every single project, our schools, every single project. Look at some of our schools. They're well over 100 years old. So if every time we do a project, is it going to cost us $1 million? Are we going to go up to Wendell Cross and tear the gym down and renovate the school and find out that $900,000 wasn't enough? It's possibly going to be $5 million? I don't know. So I end with, I don't know. But I know that I know the state legislator needs to take a closer look at this and not be putting mandates on us that are costing us millions of dollars, possibly unnecessarily. Thank you.
Commissioner Van Stone. Commissioner, whichever. Gentleman?
I'll be super short.
Okay.
Commissioner Theriault had noted, I don't know. The one thing I do know is we as a district cannot continue to make mistakes and then ask the taxpayers to pick up the tab. I'll leave it at that.
Commissioner Van Stone.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I think I said my piece last week, how I felt on the mistakes that we continue to make. But Commissioner Theriault, I'm not really surprised about what the state does to us. We found out a year or so ago that we can't put fertilizer on our football fields on school property, and we just keep tearing it up and redoing the grass, so nothing surprises me. My only question tonight, and I would have acted the same in removing these items, being that this is our mistake, is there any chance that our state money will not be granted and we will be footing the entire bill?
No.
There's no chance that they will say, you are mistaken, it's on you.
No, the code compliance requires that it be removed, and for code compliance, the state does reimburse the 78.91%.
Okay, but this is our second bite of the apple for going for money for this, correct?
They understand Mr. Cross did go to the state on several occasions and asked the opportunity to test. They said no. So they understand what happened and why we need the additional funding.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The pleasure of the board, do you want me to go on to, because they're all pertaining to the same thing, 9.6, 9.7, 9.8, and do them as a whole? We have to do each one? Okay. Any other comments? Okay. 9.5? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay. Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Harvey?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Commissioner Pagano?
Yes.
Vice President Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Stango?
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Yes.
Commissioner Theriault?
No.
Commissioner Jason Vanstone? No. Commissioner Tom Vanstone?
No.
President Brown?
Yes.
7-3, motion carries.
Motion carries. Commissioner Sweeney, 9.6.
Item 9.6, with the approval of the Committee on Building, the Superintendent of Schools recommends approval of the preparation of schematic drawings and outline specifications for the proposed West Side Middle School roof fireproofing removal replacement project.
Second.
Discussion.
Ditto.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Harvey?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Commissioner Pagano?
Yes.
Vice President Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Stango?
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Yes.
Commissioner Theriault?
No.
Commissioner Jason Vanstone?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Vanstone?
No.
President Brown?
Yes.
8-2, motion carries.
9.7, Commissioner Sweeney.
Item 9.7, with the approval of the Committee on Building, the Superintendent of Schools recommends approval of the formation of a building committee for the proposed West Side Middle School roof fireproofing removal replacement project. Such committee shall consist of Ann M. Sweeney, Charles E. Pagano, Charles L. Stango, John E. Theriault, and Jason Vanstone.
Second.
Discussion.
Ditto.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Harvey?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Commissioner Pagano?
Yes.
Vice President Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Stango?
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Yes.
Commissioner Theriault?
No.
Commissioner Jason Vanstone?
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Vanstone?
No.
President Brown?
Yes.
8-2, motion carries.
Motion carries. 9.8, Commissioner Sweeney.
Item 9.8, with the approval of the Committee on Building, the Superintendent of Schools recommends approval of the educational specifications for the proposed West Side Middle School roof fireproofing removal replacement project.
Second.
Discussion.
Ditto.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Harvey?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Commissioner Pagano?
Yes.
Vice President Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Stango?
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Yes.
Commissioner Theriault?
No.
Commissioner Jason Vanstone? Yes. Commissioner Tom Vanstone?
No.
President Brown?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to number 11, Committee on Legislation, Commissioner Sweeney.
Item 11.1, ladies and gentlemen, with the approval of the Committee on Legislation, the Superintendent of Schools recommends approval of the submission of the following resolution proposal to CABE. Submitted by the Waterbury Board of Education, reporting of in-school suspensions. The issue, in-school suspensions reported as an absence from school for students. Resolution, recommend that the State Department of Education not consider a student's in-school suspension as an absence from school. Rationale, the legislation that created in-school suspension was based on the premise that students on out-of-school suspension lose valuable instruction time. The in-school suspension law requires programming that provides students with instruction while serving in-school suspension. Designating in-school suspension as an absence is in direct conflict with the in-school suspension statute and its purpose and penalizes both the student and the district unfairly.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Theriault.
Having been a high school vice principal, the in-school suspension was a way of keeping the kids in school. If they're not going to get any credit for coming to school and serving their suspension outside of school. They're just going to stay home, and they're going to say, I mean, it's really, from what I hear of the students that have an in-school suspension, it's more of a punishment for them to be in an in-school suspension. It really is more arduous and more difficult for them with an in-school suspension. For us to say now that they're going to come and serve the in-school suspension, do their work, and they're going to be penalized as though they're out of school, would encourage students to stay home more and create more truancy. And this is exactly what we're trying to fight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, Commissioner Hernandez?
I agree with Commissioner Thurl. Having them be in school and still be considered absent just does not make sense. So I agree full-heartedly with going to CABE with that, and hopefully we can get a resolution to it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to let the board know that after our discussion last week, I had a conversation when these issues were raised, I had a conversation with the State Department of Education, and they are totally in favor of this resolution. They did not push this at all. It was one legislator who actually got this language kind of, into a bill that nobody was aware that it got passed. It was one of those things that it got put into the big education implementer bill. But they're totally in favor of this. They're thrilled that we're doing this, and they will support us all the way. So thank you for that discussion last week. And when I spoke with them, I told them we were going to do this, so they were very, very happy about that. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Commissioner Sweeney.
Item 11.2, ladies and gentlemen, with the approval of the Committee on Legislation, the Superintendent of Schools recommends approval of the submission of the following resolution proposal to CABE. Submitted by the Waterbury Board of Education, subject removal of vermiculite fireproofing. Issue removal of vermiculite fireproofing as asbestos. Resolution recommend that the State Department of Education, State Department of Administrative Services allow the opportunity for asbestos testing to be performed on vermiculite fireproofing prior to it automatically being considered asbestos. Rationale: vermiculite was widely used as fireproofing 40 years ago. In limited instances, vermiculite mining occurred in proximity to asbestos mining, creating cross-contamination. There is one documented location where such cross-contamination occurred. The State Facilities Unit has ruled that all vermiculite must be assumed as containing asbestos. The cost to districts can lead to millions in remediation costs. For one Waterbury roof replacement project, added cost was just short of $4 million. Reliable asbestos testing exists, and districts should be allowed to test vermiculite and remove, remediate, dispose of accordingly.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Theriault.
Yeah, I almost should say ditto again, right? But I won't. I think this is well received, well thought out. I don't know who developed this legislation, but it's a great way to create a tremendous industry in the removal of asbestos and create millions and millions of dollars for those people removing it. I have no problem with removing asbestos or PCBs that are legitimately in the building. But I have a big problem removing material that has a big question mark on it. We don't know what it is. We don't care what it is. Remove it. I'm kind of looking at George Orwell's, 1986, and we're well beyond it. And it looks like much of the stuff in that book became a reality the way we're being watched by TV and government and so forth. And I know the state government and the federal government do a lot for us. But if you're going to do these things, be reasonable and think them through. Thank you very much, Commissioner Sweeney, for addressing that issue. I and the board and the public really appreciates it.
Thank you. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you. And we will be bringing this up to, I serve on the CAVE Resolution Committee. Our meeting is next week, and these will be brought forward, and hopefully they will get on the delegate assembly agenda. So thank you for supporting this. Number 12, superintendent's notification to the board. 13, unfinished business of preceding meeting. Oh,
Wait, we gotta.
oh, I always forget that part, sorry. Motion. Go ahead, Jason.
Motion to receive and place on file superintendent's notification to the board.
Second.
12-1-3, 1 second.
Second.
12
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Thank you. All right, now we can move on to number 13, other unfinished new and miscellaneous business. Commissioner Hernandez. And then you want to talk?
Are we on, I'm sorry, Madam President,
13,
13?
yes.
Or
Unfinished.
unfinished business,
yeah.
preceding meeting? Is that the one?
Yes, preceding meeting.
I'm new.
So,
14 now.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
you didn't do 13.
Right, 13? Nothing.
no comments.
Okay.
Number 14,
14.
other unfinished new and miscellaneous business.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Hi, yes, I'd like, hi, listen to me. I would like for the superintendent or Darren or whomever to provide the board with all the activities that are going on in all of the schools. Someone came to me and they were looking to see if they could possibly go into one of the schools, and they were giving all these other activities that the school supposedly was doing. So I just like for the board to be aware of what actually is going on in all the schools as far as after-school programs, what schools are available for organizations to possibly use them, if that's at all possible.
Yeah, may I comment?
Yes.
Thank you.
Superintendent.
Yeah, we'd be happy to do that. In fact, the board has requested a master calendar also, and Will Zoot is in the process of putting that together. One of the conflicts, and we can certainly share that with you at a workshop, that we're experiencing is the Thursday meetings. There are 32 schools. There's a lot of activities going on. We are prioritizing those based on the request to have board's presence at these events, starting with the high schools to middle to the elementary. So we're trying to organize that. He will have that probably within the next couple of weeks. It'll be almost impossible for you to attend all these events. But again, you know, the board may want to revisit looking at their calendar. Certainly you have Thursday nights really tied up.
I thought I did that.
You know, so
Twice.
we will have the calendar for you, and certainly the board could have a discussion on that as well.
Thank you.
I have.
But you're
haven't
also
forgotten.
requesting a list of all
The
after-school
activities.
and before school, or
Nope, just
after school? Will do. Mr. Schwartz, did you write that down? Perfect. I knew you did. Thanks.
No, you didn't.
Commissioner Harvey. And then-
Yeah, I have not forgot about the move to Monday night. Yep. So, it's coming.
May I? What is taking so long to do this? I mean, it's just a simple meeting of the, I think it's in our bylaws. I think it's a bylaw issue. So why is it taking so long? We just need to.
We gotta pull the committee together. So,
Well,
we'll do it.
we've been together. So I thought by the beginning of this school year, we would be able to change our meeting date back to Monday. So I don't understand what's taking so long. I'm just a little frustrated with that because I've brought that up like 3 times.
Yep.
Okay?
Thank you.
I'll remain
I
silent.
still-
No,
are you-
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay,
I was going
and
for
I-
comments. If I, Commissioner Harvey, did you want the floor? I'm sorry.
I thought I had the floor.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. Okay. I have to bring up, folks, I know I was looking, Superintendent, in your report regarding the beginning, the first day of school, and good things happen. So I'm going to start with the negative and then end with the positive. The negative is that my nephew was starting kindergarten, so he wanted Auntie Karen to see what he was wearing the first day of school. So I was receiving pictures regarding that. Then I started to receive other pictures from my sister, and she texted and said, I think you should be aware of this. And she sent pictures on the school that, I won't mention the school, but the line that existed from kids who had not registered. So she said, you should really be aware of this. Then I started getting other pictures from other folks that have my cell phone. Lines of children and parents, either unregistered or they weren't sure if they were at the right school or they were. So then I started inquiring about why that existed. And, I guess, we have some parents that did not take the time to register their children. But then I heard, well, it's partly that, but it's also partly the intake center took their phone off the hook. I said, well, how do you know that happened? Because we're getting fast busy. I said, so why would the intake center take the phone off the hook on the first day of school? So then I learned that at another school, the crowds were there were so many, it was like they were overwhelmed with this phenomenon, I guess, that they posted the names of kids that are supposed to be there on the door of the school. And I said, whoa, that's not safe at all. That shouldn't be. So later I learned that they took that down. So I hope that never happens again. There seemed to be confusion around the district. It seemed to center on the intake center as far as where the kids are supposed to be, what district they're supposed to be in. As a matter of fact, I learned that today you just handled, a child was told by the person who was formerly in charge of the intake center that they're going to this school and no answers, no questions, no nothing, but you found out about it and you said, no, they're going back to their district school. But the school that their district to go back to supposedly is crowded. So I think we need to, first of all, the intake center should never take their phone off the hook, never. Secondly, we should be prepared to know that there is a possibility that some kids may not register. So it's a beautiful day out there, so I would think we would have tables set up outside or something of that nature and not let the parents see closed doors, names on the windows, etc., because that's not welcoming. Okay, so I would hope that we would next year be a little bit more organized with that. We have an issue with our schools being overcrowded, students going to schools that they shouldn't go to at. We know that. But who's running things here? Is it the intake center? Is it you, Dr. Willett? Exactly what's going on here? If we ask the parents how they felt the first day of school went, according to the pictures, and I have it on my phone here, I think it didn't go well. Okay, so I think we need to look at that. I think we should have people stationed at each school to take care, to troubleshoot, to take care, because we know these issues are going to come up. We know it's not going to run smoothly. But I have to mention that because my phone I thought I was almost out there in the district. I was home, but I was receiving these pictures. If you want to look at the pictures, you're welcome to look at them. All right, so that's the negative. The positive, a day for high fives. I am so pleased with the men in our district, particularly our African American men who attended Bucks Hill, Walsh School, and I think Reed School as well. I heard about this in Hartford, the giving the high fives, welcoming the kids back, getting them excited about being in school, coming back to school, and I just thought it was great. And I think it's something that we should extend throughout the district to welcome the kids back, to get them enthusiastic about going back to school. This is what we talk about when we want the community to be involved. This is thinking outside of the box. This is welcoming the kids back, and the kids are not going to forget this. They're going to remember this. I think we should also do this periodically. Just welcome them back to school. Just line up, and like the same thing we did for the first day of school. So I'm just really pleased. The headline reads, "A Day of High Fives. City students welcome back with encouraging gestures." So I think that is excellent. I think we should do this throughout the district. Something else I think we should do throughout the district. We should do more outreach. Crosby held, it wasn't in the paper, didn't get the press that it should have gotten. Crosby had a walk for success. The teachers, the community, went out to the community and welcomed the ninth graders back to, Crosby. I think that this needs to be done at Wilby, needs to be done at Kennedy, it needs to be district-wide. We had a teacher that on her own, a Wilby teacher, went to, attended some of the churches in the community just to talk about Wilby and welcoming Wilby. I didn't like the pamphlet that was handed out because I didn't think it contained very important information, but you couldn't read it. So I thought that was an excellent idea. But I think we need to organize well before the beginning of school and see what kind of outreach we're going to do to welcome our kids back. That's all I have. Thank you.
Superintendent.
Thank you. I just want to summarize my announcements. On Friday, August 19th, I attended the presentation of the 2500 Diversity Construction Group Foundation Scholarship to one of our recent Kennedy High School graduates, Jacqueline Nano. According to their website, the foundation focuses on the issue of racial and gender capacity in the construction industry and is a goal to provide encouragement and financial assistance to high school students that wish to pursue a bachelor's degree in a major that will lead to a career in the field of construction management. And it was a wonderful event. Parents were thrilled. The family was thrilled also. So I just wanted to also quick mentions. Pre-kindergarten students at Duggan received new backpacks filled with school supplies, courtesy of Hubbard Hall. Parents attended a special preschool orientation on Monday morning and received the backpacks so that students could arrive to school on their first day with the new backpacks. Also, Connecticut Hoops for Help donated book bags to Kingsbury, Reed, Gilmartin, and Sprague School. And the Southbury Training School also donated backpacks that went to Kennedy, the Waterbury Career Academy, and Carrington. So special thanks to Hubbard Hall, Connecticut Hoops for Help, and the Southbury Training School. Thank you, Commissioner Harvey, for your remarks. I will move on. I had the high fives and cheers also. I just wanted to say that Facebook Friends of Orchid Florist voted Rotella Magnet School as their favorite school in a poll. Orchid Florists thank the entire Rotella staff for all that they do for the youth of the community by sending a rose to each staff member on the first day of school. Aww. Yeah, it was very nice. We will conduct our portion of the United Way campaign early this year. Last Friday, several representatives of United Way attended professional development sessions at individual schools and spoke to staff about the contribution United Way makes to our local community. The official United Way campaign leadership breakfast and kickoff will take place next Thursday, September 8th at 7:30 a.m. at La Bella Vista. I just wanted to say also, Johanna Hayes has been spending the past few weeks in South Africa as part of her duties as National Teacher of the Year. She has forwarded spectacular photos, and those are on our website. Just a final reminder to parents that our first open house is scheduled for Wednesday, September 14th, which will be an early dismissal day. Elementary schools will hold open house from 5 to 7. High schools will hold open house from 7 to 9, and middle schools will have teacher collaboration professional development day. Thank you, Madam President, and that concludes my remarks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other, Commissioner Theriault?
Just to piggyback on what Commissioner Harvey had said, I remember the intake center some time ago as being a central depot. And you want to register your kid, you had to go to that depot. It's probably changed now,
No.
but
Oh, that's it.
I guess we can
Same.
register them at their individual schools. And maybe the superintendent can clarify
Yeah,
that. and
thanks,
then I can-
Commissioner. I think some of this was at the middle schools in our travels, from what I see. The high schools, they directly register at the high schools, middle schools directly at the middle schools. And I think the longs lines that we're seeing were at middle school. And those, we will discuss it with the ILDs as well. The elementary, they register right at the intake center. What we're seeing from when I spoke to the principals in my travels for the last couple of days is that we've had quite an influx of middle school students. North End, Wallace in particular, West Side is remaining flat at this current time. But speaking to both those principals, Wallace and North End, quite a few influx of middle school students. As far as the high schools, I don't have those numbers, but you're correct.
So we do register students at the elementary also? Or
No,
do they
at
have
the
to go-
intake.
the intake center only?
That's correct.
Okay, so they can't show up at
No, they need to be at the
Carrington, say,
intake.
I just moved into the neighborhood.
Right,
I want
intake,
to
that's
register
correct.
intake center.
Yeah,
So the
preschool
middle
center.
schools go at the middle schools.
Correct.
High schools go at the high
Yep,
schools.
guidance department, yep. Yeah, we had a few at the high schools too. They were lined up a little bit, scheduling conflicts, but all in all, I thought it was well. I think some of the issues were really at middle, and we're seeing high numbers coming in.
And I do also agree that we need some form of identification, whether it be a rent receipt, utility receipt, driver's license. They may not have it. They need something to show that they live in that neighborhood. When I see the buses, not so much in the morning, but in the evening, it looks like we're door-to-door service on every kid. I mean, I can understand, you're going up the street, but I thought that there were supposed to be individual bus stops where we pick up a group of kids and then drop off a group of kids. But it seems like we're limousine service here. We're giving them great service. But I did, before I stop, I did want to bring it to your attention that in my neighborhood, I see at least 6 kids dropped off at my corner. And they're dropped off at the corner, and they don't live on the street. They go into cars, and they go home. So,
Perhaps,
you know,
Commissioner, you and I can talk privately about that after.
yeah, I think we need to look at that. If they're legitimately in the neighborhood, fine. Because the problem is, if they're not legitimately in the neighborhood and they're going to that school, they might be depriving a student that legitimately lives in that neighborhood from attending in that particular grade. So we will talk privately. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. There's no executive session this evening, so could I, go ahead. Commissioner Sweeney.
I'll be brief.
That's
The,
okay.
Building Subcommittee for the Wendell Cross project met earlier, and we selected our community member. So we now have a full subcommittee. The Board of Aldermen has appointed Mike DiGiancarlo and Roger Sherman as their representatives. The parent member is Jamie Mahoney, and the community member selected tonight is Carrie Baker. We had a good number of requests to serve as the community member. I would encourage any of those individuals. The meetings of the subcommittee are open to the public. Please come and join us. Give us your input. We would be more than happy to have it. But we were all in general agreement that we had gotten some good response from the community to serve as a member of that committee. So we're pleased. So that is our full committee, and we can look forward to coming into the fall and into the new year for those meetings to start. Okay.
Thank you. Any other discussion points? Could I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Those in favor? Aye. Thank you.